At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV, where we are here with our good friend with the pink shirt on. We look like Easter eggs.
I know, we do, don't we?
Pete Wilson is here in the house to do the morning news update. Of course, always brought to you by Nia Henry, agent for Appalachia Realty. And if you have anything to buy or sell or have any real estate needs, give Nia a call and she will help you out.
418-4135.
That's right.
One of our favorite phone numbers.
Yes, you got it. So, Pete, you sound a little stuffy.
Oh,
are you okay?
Yes, I am okay. I'm just rolling through one of those late summer colds.
You know, we were talking off the air about that. And, you know, it seems like if you ever get sick when it's like spring or summer or whatever, it's hot out, it's like everything's just like, I don't know why they're so hard to shake.
Well, it's a bummer because, you know, you expect to maybe catch a little something in the winter, you know, when things are going around.
Because you're stuck inside. And
but the summer stuff, you know, it is kind of unexpected.
Yeah.
And no fun. And, you know, the thing about it is you're going in and out of, you know, excessive heat outside, air conditioning inside.
Yeah.
And you know, that probably doesn't help.
It's a lot for your body to adjust to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, we hope you feel better soon.
Okay. Well, I'm doing okay. I'm nursing myself with some coffee and some over-the-counter. I'm chucking some Dayquil and NyQuil like that.
Some coffee and some Sudafed.
Yeah, we're mixing it all together and hoping that the cocktail works.
We apologize for what the newspaper is going to look like on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I am worrying about that. We'll take it. No. We'll take a long look, but you know, it is a concern. Say it here on Main Street TV.
We'll feel better soon, Pete.
Okay, well, we hope so. If this is the worst thing I have, I'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly. All
right.
So what's going on in the news?
Okay, well, it was a big day in the Vinton County Common Pleas courtroom yesterday.
Okay.
We had the two defendants in the double murder case from the Frazee Lane murders in 2022.
Oh,
we had the male co-defendant and the female co-defendant both in court for sentencing hearings. Now, of course, even though this was one crime and they were both charged in that one crime, the cases were totally separate. You know,
correct.
That you know the cases. It wasn't like they were both tried at the same time. Initially, they were both charged with the same set of charges, multiple charges. And the way it turned out, both of them pled, and their day in court turned out to be yesterday. In the morning, the male defendant, August Christopher Schutz, age 35 of Wellston, appeared in court. In the afternoon, Shania Jones, age 27 of Wellston, appeared in court. And we'll roll the clock back. There's Shania right there. And Augie, which I think is the nickname for August Christopher Schutz, both of them are from Wellston. And their cases separated. As a matter of fact, Shania Jones pled pretty early in the process, less than a year after the crime. And she supposedly was going to testify against August, but August ended up taking a plea deal. Now, the trial for August started last April. It went through the first day where they picked the jury. That takes some time. And they did opening arguments the second day. This was April the 4th, Tuesday, April 4th. And then suddenly, after the opening arguments, there was a gap in the proceedings, and the parties came back, and there's a plea deal.
Okay.
So, and this is after, the trial had started with the original charges. So the way it worked out, August Schutz was pled guilty to 2 counts of voluntary manslaughter. Initially, he had been charged with multiple counts, including aggravated murder and some other lesser charges. Felonious assault was in there too. So he pled to 2 counts of voluntary manslaughter. That is a first-degree felony, but obviously a lesser crime than either aggravated murder or murder. And he was sentenced to the maximum possible sentence by the visiting judge, Scott Nussbaum from Ross County. Nussbaum had been a jurist in Ross County for some time, but like a lot of judges when they retire, he is able to,
they travel.
serve by assignment,
Yeah,
because
for sure.
there's conflicts and vacancies and things like that, gaps in there where, you have to, preside. Experienced judges need, and he presided over both of these. That's okay. I didn't breathe on you, did I?
Oh no! What did you give me?
Okay. Well, anyway, 22 to 27 and a half years for August Schutz.
Okay.
Now, there was 2 victim impact statements. They are statements that are usually made before the sentence by people who have been impacted, the victims.
Correct.
One of them was even August Schutz's daughter, who made a
Really?
statement against him, and the other was a member of the prosecutor's office read a statement from a family member. But then a gentleman by the name of Larry McGrath, he is the uncle of the male who was killed in this case. His name was Lawrence McMichael. Jory Brown and Lawrence McMichael were killed on March 1st, 2022 at this Frazee Lane residence in MacArthur. And that was what Shania Jones and August Schutz were arrested and charged for. Anyway, Larry McGrath stood up in court. This was not a prepared statement, but he asked to speak, and he was allowed to. He said, quote, "We don't agree with this sentence. He deserves life in prison and should never see a day outside." So even though it was 22 to 27 and a half years, the family, if, their wishes were represented by Mr. McGrath,
Sure.
was unhappy that it wasn't more.
Yep.
But, once again, voluntary manslaughter is not murder. It is not aggravated murder. So he actually received the maximum sentence that he could have. All right. So that was in the morning. In the afternoon, Shania Jones came, and she was charged with all the same charges as August was. Now, it was kind of indicated, not for the record, that they felt like August actually did the killings,
Yeah.
with the gun and all like that. Multiple shots, by the way.
Oh.
But Shania was an enabler, helped clean up the scene. They believed that she knew what was going on, conspired, and but she was charged with the very same things that he was. Well, she ended up taking a plea much before August did for 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, and she ended up getting sentenced to 8 years in prison, and because of the Reagan-Tokes law, if she is not a good girl in prison, the sentence could be lengthened to as much as 12 years.
Okay.
The Reagan-Tokes law is named after a crime victim in Columbus, and what it does is if there's circumstances of the offender that come out or that occur during the stated prison sentence, which in this case is 8 years, the prison sentence can actually be lengthened.
Yep.
And in this case, it could go up to 12 years. So now she did express remorse in court for what had happened, and she ends up getting 8 years. Augie Schutz gets 22 to 27 and a half years.
Okay.
So we, of course, will be reporting that in our Saturday paper. We'll have that story online as well. But once again, this dates back to or stems from an incident on March 1st, 2022, investigated by the Vinton County Sheriff's Office. Jory Brown, who is the ex of August Schutz, and Lawrence McMichael, who is a male friend of Jory Brown, they were in this house in Frazee Lane. August Schutz came to the door. This is what the Sheriff's Office and the prosecutor said in the opening statements and in the report. And for whatever reason, August Schutz ends up shooting both victims multiple times, and then their bodies were found there in the house. They had left the scene, both Schutz and Jones, but they were found later that same evening in Wellston and were arrested.
Well, it's just a kind of a wild story. You just don't, thank God, don't hear much about in our area, you know.
Right, but this was a case where there was it was, I guess, what you would call on the TV crime shows an overkill, because there was multiple shots involved.
Like some serious angry stuff going on.
Right, exactly. But there was a custody issue involved here, and sometimes that does spark violence.
It's passion, man.
Exactly. Okay, well, yesterday there was supposed to have been a preliminary hearing for James Coleman. He is the defendant in another criminal case in Vinton County. That's of the death of Dakota Williams. Just about a month ago, or in July, and James Coleman was supposed to have a preliminary hearing. It had been rescheduled once because he didn't have an attorney. It was supposed to be yesterday, but the prosecution and all was tied up with the sentencings on Jones and Schutz. So it was continued to another date that has not been set.
Okay.
But the family of Dakota Williams did another protest out on the street on Wednesday, and Red Thompson Jr. happened to be there. About 7 people out there on the sidewalk by the Vinton County Courthouse holding up signs claiming that Dakota Williams was beaten and tortured and basically murdered. We roll the tape back. Right now, James Coleman, who is the defendant in that case, has been charged with 2 counts of felonious assault. And I understand that they are still awaiting the autopsy results from Montgomery County, which may shed more light on whether the injuries from the assault or beating contributed or caused his death.
Correct.
So that is what the Vinton County Sheriff's Office is waiting on, and that case remains on hold. All right, another story out of Vinton County. This happened after we were on the air on Monday, but on Tuesday, a handgun was found in a book bag of a student at South Elementary in Hamden. Elementary, right. And, we're talking about up through the 5th grade, I believe, at the elementary. So, I mean, this was a student. They did not identify the student, of course. They did not even say the grade of the student. But this student apparently brought a unloaded gun to school. There was no bullets in the gun. There was no bullets in his book bag. There was no bullets found anywhere else. But
Thank God.
Nonetheless, a handgun found. And so, this obviously caused a disruption at school. They were able to take the student out who had brought the gun, and I'm not sure if there's been any follow-up. We've not received any follow-up report since that happened. That was on Tuesday at South Elementary in Hamden. It's obviously a scary thing.
You just wonder what would possess a child, just maybe thinking it was cool or something. You just wonder,
you wonder how you have access to a gun too.
How do you have access to it, and why? What made you think to put it in your book bag and take it to school, knowing that?
Right, and there's going
to be some serious consequences for that.
No threat was reported. It wasn't like there was a threat and then, there's a gun, this kid's got a gun too.
No, it was just a gun.
I'm guessing that it might have been more like a show and tell type thing.
That's what I'm like, hey, look what I brought to school today.
Right, and so, a little bit of a scary thing there.
Bad choice.
All the way around, for sure. But anyway, that was one of the exciting things that we had earlier in the week. We had a lot of things breaking kind of on Tuesday. Then we got them all in the paper. Proud of the staff on that.
Yeah.
But of course, we had this continuing issue with the Board of Elections that we talked about on Monday.
Yes.
Well, they had a meeting on Monday afternoon that went into the evening a little bit. So we want to tell you a little bit about that. Remember, we had multiple candidates who were, in the word posted on the website, invalidated. And there were others that were marked pending. But altogether, there were 24 candidates, if you can believe it, 24 nonpartisan or candidates who are supposed to be on the November 7 general election ballot whose petitions with the signatures on them were in question.
Okay.
And the way it worked out, Jennifer, even though it was marked on the website that it was invalidated, they really weren't totally final decisions. The Board of Elections folks got together and they reviewed the law. They read the law inside and out. They did a lot of homework away from the meeting, away from the board, away from the board office. They consulted with Jackson County Prosecutor Randy Dupree on interpretation of the law. I'm sure they consulted the Secretary of State's office as well. And as a result, about 8 of those petitions were approved.
Oh, okay.
They turned from either pending or invalidated to approved.
Okay.
And so the names of
That's good news.
the names of those candidates that were approved were Jackson School Board candidates Pat McDonald, Kim White, and Kyle Hickey. Also, Oak Hill Mayor Paul McNeil, Washington Township Trustee Alicia Atkins, Cole Township Trustee Timothy Wheatley, Madison Township Trustee Chris Walls, and Scioto Township Trustee Brian Durham. Now, what they found out was that all of these petitions had what they call minor defects, and what the prosecutor told them was that they can use their discretion and judgment if there is substantial, the ones that they had invalidated or that were pending, about the same number had constituted fatal errors, and they were not approved upon review. Those candidates are as follows. Jackson School Board candidate Bill Butch Cooper, Oak Hill School Board candidate Scott Gillen, Scioto Township Fiscal Clerk Judy Kiefer, Lick Township Fiscal Officer Claudia McGinnis, Bloomfield Township Trustee candidate Richard E. Irwin Jr., Lick Township Trustee candidate Kathy Greer, Milton Township Fiscal Officer candidate Lydia Stevens, and Colton Village candidate Michelle Meacham. Okay. There were others that were pending that were also approved. Some of the ones that were in the pending category, the reason that they were invalidated, there were about 3 or 4 of those, they were typed. There was the top part of the form was typed, and the board members felt that this could be a possible defect because, it wasn't handwritten. But right.
You'd think it would be the opposite.
But no, because, someone was just trying to be neat.
Yeah.
Because, but as long as they signed it at the bottom in their signature, they were all right.
I can't write for squat.
They really didn't think that these would maybe be invalidated, but they wanted to look into it.
Gotcha.
Because there were 3 or 4 of them, because normally you do fill them out with handwritten copy.
Okay.
So, some of those were approved. Now, they convened again last evening to reconsider the petition of Judy Kiefer as Scioto Township Fiscal Clerk candidate. Now, Judy had her petition invalidated because on her 2-page petition, she had a total of 32 signatures. All right. At the bottom of the first page, she put 32 because she had a total of 32 signatures. At the bottom of the second page, she put 32 because she had 32 signatures. However, she actually had 20 signatures on the first page and 12 on the second. She thought she was supposed to put the total because that's how much she had.
I see. Okay.
And so she was initially invalidated by a vote of 3-1 because of a claimed overcount. She was claiming 32 signatures when she actually had 20 on one page and 12 on another. If that sounds a little technical, I kind of agree. I kind of agree with that. Well, Kim Milliken, who is the chair of the Jackson County Board of Elections, she was the one person who voted for the petition, not against it. And she did some research with the Secretary of State's Legal Division, with Jackson County Prosecutor Randy Dupree. But the big thing is they found some similar cases in case law where similar situation petitions were approved by even the high court, the highest Supreme Court. So they gathered last night and voted 4-0 to approve Judy Kiefer's petition. Okay. So she joined the approvals last night. But still a total of about 8 that are invalidated.
Wow. That's still a lot.
It is a lot. And one of the things that came out at Monday's meeting, because I know the Board of Elections has taken a lot of criticism, getting a lot of scrutiny because this hasn't happened before. Mm-hmm. Kim Milliken said, and the board is apparently firm on this, they are what they call a code-compliant board. In other words, we don't make up the law. We don't make up the Secretary of State's directives. We're just supposed to follow them.
Sure.
They're not going to do wiggle room or whatever and maybe be accused of approving something that they should not approve.
Right.
In the past, and maybe even in some other counties now, discretion is a loaded word, but maybe, in some cases, board members in other counties and in our county in the past have done that. Another thing they're not supposed to do is what is called a pre-check. What that means is you come in with your petition and you say, hey, could you look at this to make sure that it's right? They're not supposed to do that, according to Kim Milliken. They're
And I don't understand why. I mean, you're going to your Board of Elections people and just saying, asking for a second opinion.
Right.
But I mean, if that's the law, that's the law. But
well, I think that there's been issues come up that, it's unfair to help some candidates and not others. It seems like to me, and I've said this to more than several people, because, the idea is to allow people to run, right? And a lot of these are kind of technical things. And in all cases, it wasn't about signatures this time. It was about correctly filling out the form.
The form.
Right. Yeah. So what I would say is if you come in with your petition and you ask a question, is my signature in the right place or whatever, tell them. If they don't ask you, then it's on them.
Like if you ask a specific question to your director of the Board of Elections, I mean, I feel like that's kind of what they're there for.
Right.
I don't see why that's a problem.
But
once
again, they say that they are following the law and the directives from the Secretary of State. Now, Randy Evans, the mayor of Jackson, he's on the ballot. So, as he put it, he didn't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
But he knows some of the candidates that are running or whatever. And he got a little bit miffed when he was talking about it. He felt like, in the past, they've been able to help candidates a little bit. They should be helpful. Use some discretion and judgment. I know that there's certain things you can't do, but you can find a way to help candidates a little bit. Now, I know that brings up possible problems in a gray area on how far you go on a situation like that. But anyway, we had a story in Wednesday's paper about Monday's meeting, and then we'll have a follow-up story about Judy Kiefer and her petition getting approved. But this has never happened in my memory in Jackson County where there's been so many petitions that were not approved. But once again, the board emphasized that they are a code compliant board. In other words, they're not using their discretion or judgment to stray from what they've been told to do. And so, in that way, that's hard to fault.
Sure.
They didn't make the law. They didn't say that you can't do pre-checks. They didn't say that if you put your signature in the wrong place that it's wrong. That's the law. So, how much wiggle room should there be in the law, or should the law be changed? Now, Kim talked about doing a petition seminar.
That's a good
after
idea.
November, because that's something they
idea.
can do before a petition is actually turned in.
Yeah.
Because they give you a multiple page book about filling out a little petition, and you have to wonder if everybody looks at
Probably
all
not.
80 pages or whatever it is there. Okay, well, anyway, we will move along. On Tuesday, we had a Jackson school bus that was in a wreck.
No.
Minor wreck, if there is such a thing when a school bus is involved.
Ooh.
But it was on State Route 93 at McCarty Lane. And a bus that was driven by Ellen Luster, age 58 of Jackson. Unfortunately, she happened to be driving a brand new school bus. It had just been put in service last week, the first week of school. And there was a pickup truck that pulled from McCarty Lane and hit the bus in the rear. There was damage to the rear of the bus, and the bus aide who was on the bus, Robin Reynolds, age 41 of Jackson, suffered minor injuries. Don't think they were serious at all, but they did report minor injuries. No kids on the bus at the time.
Okay.
They had just let off students at Southview Elementary, and the bus was
That's good news.
was back on the way to the bus garage when this accident happened. Phil Howard, the superintendent of the Jackson City Schools, said that you got to take the bus out of commission. Of course, have to be assessed for safety and all like that, and so it's out of service right now. And
that's a logistical nightmare.
But if you're gonna have a bus crash, then that's the kind to have, I guess.
For sure.
But anyway, don't know all the details on that, but you may have heard, or some of our listeners and readers may have learned, that we actually had a student fatality on a bus in Ohio the first week of school in Clark County. That's where Springfield is.
Yes.
Right. And so one of the issues that may be looked at is mandatory seatbelts in buses.
I've always wondered about that.
Right. So, I mean, they're not mandatory now. I don't even know whether they're in buses.
I don't think they are. I've never seen. Yeah, we didn't have them. I don't know if they are.
Right. I know
today
on
or
a
not.
lot of passenger buses, tour buses, and like that, they're there, but they're normally not used.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, we've got a couple business stories to tell you about that are good. First of all, there's a new night spot in downtown Wellston that's open, and it's getting a
Yeah.
lot of attention. It's called Scottys on First.
Yep.
And there it is right there. It's on First Street in downtown Wellston, and that is where the famous Janetta's Bar was.
Janetta's, yes.
Is that back in your time? Was Janetta's going there?
N-
I know it was in my time.
It was a little before my time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
for
Janetta's,
sure. But I love Janetta.
Janetta's was the sports bar.
Yes.
The night spot in downtown Wellston, and it has sat empty for about 30 years. And Scott Sturgill, who is the owner-operator of the Gold Line Pub,
Yes.
decided to close the Gold Line Pub and open Scotty's on First there in the old Janetta's place. And, there they are right there. That is Scott Sturgill on the left. That is his mother, Sherry Bragg, in the middle, and his stepfather, Scott Bragg, on the right. They are the ones who are the owners, and they're making Scotty's on First happen. And I can tell you this, I was in Wellston on Friday evening. They had a soft opening last weekend.
Yeah.
It may have been a soft opening, but about everybody was there. All
That's
right?
what, I wasn't there, but I have heard that it was just slammed.
Right. And of course, they're a great effort to revitalize downtown Wellston.
Love it,
Well,
yeah.
this might be a big step in it.
Yeah.
Because when I was there, also the Patio Grubs and Suds,
Uh-huh.
the former Rocket Pizza
Yeah.
that Wendy Henry has, they had a big crowd outside on their patio, and so both of these places within a block of each other. I mean,
Yeah.
it was booming.
Just popping.
You had to find a place to park in
Good.
that 2-block area. It was great. But we're going to have a story on Scotty's on First in our Saturday paper. But you'd be surprised if you hadn't been in Janetta's and you go here. You'll be very surprised. It is a big place. They have a big menu, of course, full bar service and everything. And they're going to be open 6 days a week.
Okay.
So congratulations to Scott Sturgill and the Braggs
Yeah, for sure.
Scotty's on First. Alex Shope stopped
Big
over
step.
and wrote a really nice story that we hope to have in our Saturday paper.
Yes.
Okay, speaking of revitalization downtown, the Spot on Main is in the news. The Spot on Main, of course, on the corner of East Main Street and Church Street.
Yes.
Jenny Massey has done such a great job with that. She opened
Yes,
that
they
back
have.
in 2017, and it has been a favored spot for the coffee club group.
Of course.
They reduced their hours after COVID, but still, when it's open, it is very popular.
Oh, yeah.
And they are expanding. With the help of an economic development grant through the state, they are going to now roast their own coffee.
That is so cool.
So, the coffee is one
Love
of their
it.
main. There's Jenny right there
Yep.
sitting at one of the tables with, of course, a cup of coffee. She is a wonderful, smart, savvy entrepreneur.
She is.
And they're going to roast their own coffee instead of just serve everybody else's gourmet coffee. And also, she's going to expand e-commerce capabilities to broaden the reach of its products. So,
okay.
she's planning to
Kind of sell it to the
I
outside.
assume to sell some of their
Yeah.
products, particularly this coffee, that, just
Yeah.
like you're doing with the craft beer,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So anyway, any news that is good for Jenny Massey and the Spot on Main is good for downtown Jackson too, because it has been popular from the get-go since it opened in 2017, and they will use the money from the $50,000 Jobs Ohio Inclusion Grant to assist the company with the grant process. They will be able to not only do the things we've talked about there in their main building, but they also have another building there on Harding Avenue where they do some of their baking, I think.
Yep, they do.
Right. And so good news for downtown Jackson and Jenny Massey. And, you've got to avail yourself of your opportunities. I know you know how to do that. You and Jamie know how to do that. You've got to know how to access help that you can get through economic development, not only here in
You
Jackson
do.
County, but regionally with
You
Ohio
do.
SEO,
Yep.
and of course and of course the state.
But I've
state
said it
level.
here before and I'll say it again. We have some of the most fantastic economic development leaders here in our area. We are so blessed, to have, Ohio SE. We have, Sam Brady and our economic development team here. And they all work so hard to, help local businesses. And for the first time that I can remember, and I don't know, you've been doing this a long time, Southeastern Ohio is getting represented.
Right. Well, that's
And
where Ohio SEO comes in. That regional arm.
Before if somebody down here would have asked for economic development money from Columbus or whatever, they would have laughed us out of the office because we don't count down here. And we do now, and I think that's amazing.
When you have professionals at the local level, like at the Jackson County Economic Development Partnership with Sam Brady and his team, and then Ohio SEO, which has some people that live in the area on there.
Absolutely,
it's going to make it much more doable. I think
they're
going to be more aware of what's here, and they will reach out. You don't necessarily have to be the one to reach out.
Yeah,
but you just have to ask sometimes. A lot of this economic development help and grants, it's out there for you, but you just have to access it and know about it.
You do, and it's just so appreciated that those folks, I get a phone call occasionally from Sam or from somebody else that just says, hey, just checking in, you need anything or, any concerns or whatever. And I mean, that's good. It's huge.
They have won awards for their outreach. They have.
They should.
They have both at the local level and at the regional level.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, also on the development beat, people passing by Main Street, US Route 50 in MacArthur. Of course, they're doing the paving. But another great project going on is the construction has begun on the Vinton County National Bank building. Red Thompson was there and saw all the dirt flying.
Love
it. He got a picture for us. But this is a $2.6 million building. Randy Evans Construction is doing the work. And it's going to, we've shown pictures of what the building will look like when it's done. It'll be done sometime in 2024, but work is being done right now. If you go by the site of the former McClure's restaurant on US Route 50 in MacArthur.
Love it.
Once it is open and operating, this new bank building will be the retail center. It will handle all the customer functions, and their current bank building, which is there on the corner of Main and Market, it will still be open, but it will be for internal employees doing administrative office type stuff. It will not be a retail center anymore. All right, a good guy that we want to give credit to is Dave Apsley. Mm-hmm. We had a story on him on the front page. He has done so much for natural resources and conservation, particularly in the forestry area.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he has
a tree farm, right?
Yeah, he has his own Christmas tree farm, so his expertise comes into hand there. But David Apsley recently, this happened at the Ohio State Fair. That's when the presentation was made. He was one of several individuals to win Ohio Department of Natural Resources Cardinal Award. And that is Dave right in the middle, lives just right outside here in Jackson. And that is him in the middle. And on the left, that is Governor Mike DeWine. So this was a big deal. And there on the right is Dan Balser, who is the ODNR's Division of Forestry Director. But David, of course, is based out at the Extension office here in Jackson, but he works in the area. He's the one who has put together these outstanding programs called A Day in the Woods, that a lot of them are done at the Vinton Experimental Forest there near Dundas. And this is a larger group here, including many of his family members. His wife, Barb, there standing to his left, and other family members there. This was a big day for David to get the, in a kind of a behind-the-scenes job, get the credit that he deserves. The Cardinal Award is a statewide award that goes to individuals and organizations that demonstrate exceptional awareness and concern for ideals reflected in the department's mission statement, which is to ensure a balance between the wise use and protection of our natural resources for the benefit of all. And a lot of different folks in different segments of life have won the Cardinal Award, and certainly Dave Apsley, very, very much deserving. So congratulations to him. And we understand, he hasn't told me this, but I've heard from a very good source that he'll be retiring at the end of the month.
Oh my goodness.
So congratulations to
Lots
Dave.
of great stuff going on.
All right, we want to tell you about a big deal in Wellston that occurred on Tuesday. It was the Wellston American Legion Legacy Run. And not Jeremiah Shaver, he wasn't there this time. Alex Shope was there. Jeremiah's lots of places, but this was Alex. They had a motorcade of motorcycles come on this American Legion Legacy Ride. They started in Kokomo, Indiana. They ended up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they came through Wellston about midday on Tuesday. And not only did they come through, but they stopped at the American Legion Post for kind of like a lunch stop. And it was hundreds of motorcycles. It was
That is
quite
cool.
Quite a scene. You know, they had the police escort and everything, and it was just a feel-good thing all the way around. Of course, the Legacy Run is to support veterans and also suicide awareness campaign among veterans, because that continues to be an issue
for sure.
And also it helps raise money for the American Legion Legacy Scholarship Fund, which provides scholarships to the sons and daughters of American heroes, meaning veterans. So they did a great job in Wellston, as they always do. They raised locally $2,760 through the Legion and an additional $2,000 from residents for this Legacy Run. And they also fed them there for lunch.
That's awesome.
And I know that Nathan Kitts and Rowdy's Smokehouse was a big part of that. The Legion bought the food, but the Rowdy's crew stayed up all night on Monday night and into Tuesday to smoke the meat for no extra charge. So, wonderful event in Wellston, and we'll have some news on that and pictures in our Saturday paper. Also, we want to salute Jeannie Gendra.
Yes.
Jeannie was, the attraction at an open house event on Wednesday. Our own James Hamilton went down there. So glad that he did that, because Jeannie deserved the attention.
That's right.
We'll be running a photo in the paper. But Jeannie, there she is on the right. Just a sweetheart she is, and a great ambassador for the Welsh heritage and culture, not only here in the area and for the University of Rio Grande at the Mad Dog Center for Welsh Studies.
I got to get a picture of this. Sorry.
But also... we'll tell you about that.
Yeah, I want to send a picture to Dylan so he can. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm especially okay. When they were both looking up at the same time.
Okay. Well,
go ahead. I'll let you know what we're laughing about here in a second.
It's all about fuchsia T-shirts. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, she is shown in the picture here with her successor, who is Dan Ralphbotham. He is, of course, of Welsh stock, and he was an intern there at the Mad Dog Center before, and he is the new director. But Jeannie has retired after many years of service, but I know that she'll still remain active in Welsh-related activities in the area and around the country.
And then James and I were talking about asking the new director maybe to come on the show and get to introduce him a little bit. And I know he's very passionate about what he's up to. So
right.
Very good.
Okay. Well,
Dylan, I sent you something.
Okay.
Did you send it on text or to my email?
Email. It's James at email.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they had the Klipz for Kids program at the Christ Church on Sunday, August the 13th. That is a program of Indivisible Appalachian, Ohio, in conjunction with the Christ Church of Jackson. And there's a lot of local people that step up to make that happen.
Yes.
Dennis Reinhardt, a Jackson area resident, is one of them, and he was good enough to give us some information for a story, because it's a wonderful service that they do. 100 Jackson County children and their families. Not only, the kids received a haircut. There, you see some of the haircuts being done. And they also received a free meal, thanks to Christ Church, school supplies, personal items, lice treatment kits, and food bags. So, it was more than just a haircut. But the idea was a free haircut right before the start of school. The school, of course, started the next Wednesday here in the Jackson City School District, also in Oak Hill and Benton County. But 5 hairstylists donated their time, and Dylan's been putting up their pictures there. But the 5 hairstylists who donated their expertise and time were Paula Eisen of Hair Happening, Emily McDaniel of Neal & Company Hair Studio, Hayden Brown of the Village Haircutters, Courtney Teeters and Taylor Avery of the Brook Lane Hair Studios. They all donated their time. Yeah. There was also money and material donations from...
I see Becky Mayhew there, too.
Yep, there's Becky Mayhew as well. The business and individuals as well, they stepped up. And also sponsors as well did volunteer time, helping set up things, collecting and organizing the school supplies and a bunch of other things to make it all happen. It was a big, big deal. And thanks to Dennis Reinhardt. So glad he did this for us here at the paper. Took some pictures for us and also submitted some material. And that will definitely be in our Saturday paper. Pay attention to that because
Great
that's
event.
some good people stepping up for our kids. All right. A couple other things before we bring Jeremiah on.
I got something for you guys.
Oh, my. Okay.
Well, it was
Speaking
even
of-
better when they were both looking up because they both have the same haircut, the same glasses, and the same shirt and the same shorts.
They got the memo, didn't they?
Look, I mean, like you even have on gray shorts. Like I'm just cracking up over here.
Okay, you know what we ought to do is do a closed shot of both of their legs and see if the studio audience can pick out whose legs are whose.
That's a good idea. Who's who?
Right, just off the legs. They look kind of similar to me.
Twinning.
All right. Well, anyway,
we digress.
A couple other little things here. Sour Run Road is going to be closed on Monday, August the 28th. Of course, that's a main county road there in Jackson Township into Cole Township. It will be closed through a pipe replacement project starting Monday, August the 28th. The closing will take place just west of Glade Run Road and will last 1 to 2 weeks depending on weather conditions. The public is thanked for their patience as the Jackson County Engineer's Office continues to improve the safety of the local county road system. So that's Sour Run Road, also known as County Road 28, closed for a week or two, depending on how long it takes, starting on Monday.
Okay.
Also, the city of Wellston has announced that they will be doing mosquito spraying in the city, weather permitting, on Monday.
Probably a good idea since we have some cases of West Nile
I know,
around
exactly.
here.
I mean, very timely. The Ohio Pest Control will be doing it in conjunction with the city. Doesn't say exactly where it'll be, but I imagine it'll be in the so-called hot spots where there might be some mosquitoes and where people tend to go. It'll be 7 to 10 p.m. It'll take place in the evening. If inclement weather prevents the spraying, that usually means rain. The spraying will then be put off until Friday, September the 1st. Now, anyone with respiratory problems should consider closing their windows and shutting off any window air conditioners until the fog from the mosquito spray has dissipated.
Sure.
So that is what we have, and Jeremiah has been out on a number of things, including a big chemical spill up in Vinton County.
Uh-oh.
Did a great job chasing that and getting the details, but that road was closed through a good part of Tuesday.
That never sounds good.
Right. So we'll bring him on, and we'll get on the horse and get our Saturday paper out. Of course.
Is there a horse here?
No, there isn't. That's figuratively speaking.
Oh, okay.
Ball games this week. We've got them.
Yes.
3 ball games tonight. Wellston at Fairland, Vinton County at Circleville, Oak Hill at Piketon. All those games on the road for our local teams. They'll all be on the radio then and on the Total Media app. And then on Saturday, big game down at Ironton. The Ironmen go down to play the Tigers, 8 p.m. in the Ironton Tiger Classic.
That's right.
Once again, remember, that's kickoff at 8 p.m. on Saturday. And I saw also where the Wellston game, the kickoff's been moved from 7 to 7:30 tonight.
Okay.
Some kickoffs around the area have been moved from 7 to 7:30. I assume it's because of the heat.
Yeah.
Letting it,
Pretty gnarly out there.
Right, exactly. So you might want to check that, with the school or your connections before you go, because kickoff times, once again, vary this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, very good.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Have a wonderful weekend. Well, hi, Jeremiah.
Morning, Jen.
I like your shirt.
Well, I have this shirt on. James has it on, and then Joel back out and advertising. And Joel said something about we're all three going to. They're really showing a Barbie here later, so I should have picked a different color.
No, it's hilarious. No, it's what is so funny is that you sat down.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wait, you guys both have on gray shorts.
And see, if I would have
You
worn my
both
watch,
have the glasses.
If I would have
You
worn
both-
my watch, we would have really matched.
You both have like new haircuts. Like, it's so funny.
It is pretty funny. Pretty funny. So,
Yeah, Joel doesn't have a haircut. Let's put
Right.
it that way.
right.
Wonder when the last time Joel got his haircut was.
I don't know.
I can tell you it was what would have been like
1982,
well, no, 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Because that was like his last staff photo or something, right?
Well, yeah, he stopped cutting his hair in March of 2020.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay, gotcha.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, very cool. So what in the heck? We're talking chemical spills?
Chemical spill, Jen.
There's been a lot of Benton County in the news today.
There has been a lot of Benton County in the news. So on Tuesday, August 2nd, a section of Route 50 there in western Benton County,
Okay.
not too far from Ross County line,
Yeah.
became a hazmat scene as a chemical spill occurred inside a cargo compartment of a commercial box truck and vehicle. And Dylan's got a bunch of pictures. Normally on something like this, I probably wouldn't have been able to get as close as I did. But I was able to get kind of close to get some shots of the scene out there, and they were taking all the precautions. They had it set up during these hazmat situations. Every year, Benton County EMA as well as Jackson County EMA here, sometimes they'll do a tag team training event. Sometimes they'll each do their individual training event. So they train for hazmat situations.
Those are interesting.
Yeah, so those are
they have to wear
hazmat suits.
Ooh, that'd be hot.
Yeah, and I got there around the time that a second team, because they always go in pairs, was going back to the truck. One pair had already gone back to kind of inspect the scene, and that was the second pair there, kind of in the red-orange hazmat suits. And they were going back to open the cargo bay and take a camera and kind of stick it up in there to kind of get a look at what had spilled.
How did they know that there was a spill? Was there an accident or?
No, so Benton County Emergency Management Agency Director Bill Fott told us that so there was a little over 100 gallons of this chemical that had spilled out of the container.
Okay.
When it was all said and done. And he noted, let me tell you a little bit about the chemical real quick, and we'll tell you how they figured out that it was leaking.
Okay.
So he noted that the chemical involved a detergent-based type of chemical.
Uh-huh.
He didn't have the name in front of him at the time I called him.
Okay.
But he was able to tell me it was a detergent-based type of chemical, and he said that it wasn't anything too toxic when you compare it to some of the other hotter cleaning solutions.
Okay.
So it was still good that they took all appropriate measures for that. But this hazmat incident, it began at 8:51 a.m. on Tuesday, and so the truck that you see there where they're heading, it had pulled off of Route 50 there in Benton County between Old Route 50 and State Route 327.
Okay.
Fott told me that the driver of the vehicle called 911 because he felt that he had a chemical leak from the cargo bay.
Okay.
And I don't know if he's seen something out the mirror leaking on the road or what, but I guess there was some of this that did get out on the road, not like a sizable amount or anything. I think a lot of it was the spill. It was a container that had spilled, and they think that the load had shifted.
Okay.
And it caused like one of those drums or totes or whatever, because it was hauling a number of chemicals. And so they didn't know exactly what had
that's
spilled.
Scary stuff.
Yeah. And so they took all the precautions just to be safe. Treated it like it would be, anything hazardous, which I guess it was toxic, but not as toxic as some stuff could have been. But so anyway, local law enforcement, firefighters, and EMS arrived on scene, took a quick look at the truck, and then that's when they started requesting area hazmat teams. So the Wellston Fire Department Region 7 hazmat team, as well as the Chillicothe VA hazmat team, responded. They closed that section of roadway between Old 50 and State Route 327, and they worked together in the hazmat suits to determine what kind of spill it was. And there was, like I was saying, various containers containing chemicals. It was being, transported to various places. Okay. These chemicals were. That scene out there lasted for over 10 hours. So it was shut down for 10 hours. They did have a detour set up that you could get around.
I was going to say, that's a long
fortunate
time
where they pulled off, there was a road that kind of connected to Old 50, and Old 50 kind of put you out past this.
Okay.
So you were able to kind of get around without having to really backtrack a whole lot. And he said, Fott told me that with help from local first responders, some help from outside technical resources, the scene was kept safe and cleanup with minimal impact to the area. He did say that the affected soil near the truck was dug up with a contracted cleaning crew, and the crew was out of Cincinnati. It was called Clean Harbors.
Okay.
And he said that they do a very good job at cleaning up these types of scenes.
Gotcha.
And they all, obviously cleaned up the compartment for the cargo, and any chemicals that were not spilled were offloaded and secured in another truck.
Okay.
So on scene out there, you had a whole slew of people. You had Jackson County EMA, Ross County EMA, MacArthur Fire Department, Harrison Township Fire Department, Vinton County EMS, the VA Fire Department, High State Highway Patrol Motor Carrier Enforcement Unit, the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio, the Ohio State Highway Patrol, the Ohio Department of Transportation, Vinton County Sheriff's Office, the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency, and Ohio EMA Region 7 staff. We're all out there on the scene.
That's a lot of people.
So, and he, I put a quote up here in my subhead. Director says, "It's not as bad as it could have been."
Okay.
So it was very interesting to listen to some of the scanner traffic when all this originally happened. So there's a little bit about that.
Okay.
We'll stay in Vinton County here and talk a little Vinton County news. Volunteers are still needed for the upcoming Vinton County Air Show.
Okay.
So that's coming up. Show coordinators are reporting that they are still in need of volunteers for that 2023.
So it is going to happen.
It is going to happen, yes. Okay. Yeah, they have a date scheduled of Sunday, September 17th from 12:30 to 4:30 p.m., but they are in need of volunteers. And if you would like to help with this year's show, you can send a message to the Vinton County Airport Facebook page for more information, and all help is welcome for that.
Seems like
out there.
That would be a fun one to volunteer at.
I think so, yeah. I think it'd be fun to go out and volunteer for that. I think Red may have a story on some of the stuff they have lined up for this year.
Yeah.
I don't have those notes in front of me, but
Always
I did want
cool.
to mention that they're still looking for volunteers.
Okay.
Also, in Vinton County, the Vinton County Health Department is offering free car seat checks for your little ones.
That is something you should take advantage of.
Yes, that's nice that they're doing that, and it's free. You can call 740-596-9705 to schedule an appointment to have your car seat checked to make sure that it is installed correctly.
The statistics I don't know if like the newer car seats are easier to install, but I know at one point they were saying that like huge amounts of car seats were not installed properly.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Just because me having a child and we've, started out with that initial car seat and then switched to the bigger one, because of the weight difference and everything. And I will say I don't know what the old ones were like, but the ones that we have, they're real easy to, buckle into that harness. There's I think
they've probably reconfigured them to make them more user friendly,
right.
But still, nonetheless, make sure your car seat's in there properly, and you can get it checked for free.
They're in at the Vinton County Health Department in MacArthur. They did say that they've had several requests from the public for car seats. Unfortunately, they don't have any car seats in their inventory at this time. Mm-hmm. I think there's certain criteria that you have to meet to qualify for one of those car seats that they give away.
Okay.
But they did say that they have ordered more and hope to meet the needs of the community soon. So be looking for that as well. Also, out of Vinton County Health Department, they have announced a fall rabies clinic in partnership with the Vinton County Commissioners, Davis Veterinary Service, and the Vinton County Dog Shelter. That's scheduled for Monday, September 11th. The clinic will be held at Wyman Park there in MacArthur from 3 to 6 p.m. The cost per rabies vaccine is only $5.
Okay.
So very reasonable price there.
Very reasonable.
They did say that both cats and dogs have to be at least 3 months old. Dogs must be on a leash and have their 2023 dog license, and cats must be in a covered basket or box when you bring them to the park. And in addition to that clinic, the Vinton County Dog Shelter will be having dogs available for adoption during the event.
Very good.
So there's that too. So I don't know if when you got up this morning, if you noticed how hot it was out already.
Very hot.
Yes. So the National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory for today, Friday, August 25th, for both Jackson and Vinton counties, and a lot of this,
pretty much the whole country. So
a lot of this area, and this part of the United States is under a heat advisory.
It's bad.
Here locally, that advisory will begin at 12 p.m. and will run through 8 p.m. this evening. They are expecting heat index values up to 104 degrees this afternoon and evening. So if you are outside, hot temperatures and high humidity may cause heat illness to occur.
Yep.
And
Be very careful.
Yeah, so if you're outdoors, drink plenty of fluids, stay out of the sun. Don't forget to check on your relatives and neighbors. And if you can, just stay in an air-conditioned room today.
That's right.
I will say that if I don't know how many times this has to be said, but don't forget about young children and pets being left unattended in vehicles.
Right.
Don't ever
don't do that.
Don't do that under any circumstance. So that's your reminder. Always look and check to make sure that you're not leaving your little one in the car.
For sure.
And if you're working outside, just take extra breaks and whatnot. So just I know we had a heat advisory yesterday as well, about the same point in time. Like Pete was talking about the football games, we backed a little bit because of the heat.
Backed up suckers.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. So the Jackson Visitors and Convention Commission Board met on Wednesday, August 23rd.
Okay.
And they gave away the rest of their funds for 2023.
Okay.
So they didn't have a whole lot left. And I know I've been on here several times this year talking about the board. That board, for those that don't know, we'll talk a little bit about it real quick. The purpose of the commission is to attract tourists and visitors to the city of Jackson and the surrounding area. And the board, they get funds through it's a bed tax.
Yes.
That they get from like the motels and hotels
and
stuff like that. On that board, the commission board is made up of Jackson City Council President Dan Fox, who serves as the chairman, Jackson City Councilman Ryan Peters, and Jackson City Auditor Brett Reed. During the meeting on Wednesday, Mr. Fox and Mr. Reed were in attendance. Peters was not present.
Okay.
And they had $3,000 left to distribute for this year.
Okay.
And they gave $2,500 to the Jackson Firefighters Association towards their Christmas in the Park fireworks.
Oh, okay.
So the fire department had asked for $4,000, and they gave them $2,500. So they gave them a little bit of what they asked for. And then a Randy Clauser, on behalf of the Southern Hills Art Council and the Marquet Theater, was present. And they were requesting $7,000 for scheduling and booking of acts and performing for 2024. But like I said, they only had $3,000, so they gave them what was left, which was $500.
Okay.
So that's a rundown for that. I will say that the clerk for the board commission told me that would probably be the last meeting of the year, as all the funds have been distributed. So I know we're running out of time here. Here's a couple things going on Monday. The city of Jackson has announced that a section of High Street between Oak Street and State Street will be closed on Monday, August 28th through Friday, September 1st.
Okay.
Due to an ongoing project with Columbia Gas. Yep. And that closure will be between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. The city of Jackson requests that residents and motorists follow directions and guidance as provided by the contractors who are performing the work.
Okay.
Come back to that one later. Come back to that later. I'll touch on that maybe on Monday. Pete already talked about the mosquito spraying.
Yep.
So coming up on August 30th, Wellston Main Street has scheduled a meeting regarding the future of the organization.
Right.
Their meeting will be on Wednesday, August 30th at 6 p.m. at the Rusted Barns Reception Hall on the second floor. That's at 4 East Broadway. And the topic of the meeting will be to discuss the future of Wellston Main Street and the new board members. The meeting is open to the public, membership not required. The meeting is critical for the future of Main Street. The group needs more volunteers and board members to continue as an organization. And I think I've mentioned it and Pete's mentioned it before. You know, they do a lot.
Yes, they do.
For that downtown area.
And a few people can't do it all.
Right. And they help with the celebration of our nation. They're the main folks for that. For the fireworks and the Christmas event they have at Christmas time. And so just wanted to mention that if you're in the Wellston area, or even I'm sure they would take people from outside the Wellston area.
I'd say they don't care who you are.
They don't care who you are as long as
you're
able body.
Yep.
So we'll just say the rest of that. I'm sure I'll be back in on Monday.
Okay.
So.
Well, very good. Well, we always love talking with you, Jeremiah. We appreciate you so much. stopping by and twinning with James
And Joel.
So look at this. I mean, the glasses, the hair, the whole 9 yards. Look at that. It's so ridiculous. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay cool today. It should be a lot better by tomorrow. And we'll see you right back here on Monday. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye-bye.